Good morning. This is really interesting. And I am very afraid right now, and I am afraid for our country. And there are two scenarios here with what's going on with DJT, Donald J. Trump. And both are scary. And it has to do with this insistence on repeating and reliving the campaign and the election. It's like his Groundhog Day. And he can't get over it. And he continues to relive it and to make up stories about it as he goes along, like how he really, the perfect scenario of how it should have gone. And he is still talking about numbers and electoral votes versus popular votes. And he continues every day to accuse our former president of a felony in public. And yesterday something happened. The director of the FBI, James Comey, went to Congress. Remember how Trump used to say that if Hillary was elected, she would be spending all her time testifying in front of Congress because she would be being locked up and charged with crimes? Well, Director James Comey had to go and testify, and this is what was all over the news yesterday. Nothing about Obamacare, nothing about national security, nothing about anything to help America or jobs. This was what the news was about yesterday, was James Comey telling Congress, even if President Obama wanted to wiretap Trump Tower, he didn't have the authority to do so. Just like, by the way, and maybe this was a little message, a subliminal message to DJT, no president has the right to order the FBI to wiretap a private citizen, even one who is running for office. They don't have the right to do that. See, in our country, the president is not the king, and he doesn't have the right to do anything he wants by dialing a phone number or pushing a button. There are checks and balances. Thank God. Thank God, now that we have DJT in the White House. So either one of two things is going on. Either Donald Trump is delusional and he actually believes that he was wiretapped by the Obama administration, which is scary enough. Or he has a vendetta, an agenda of revenge against Barack Obama. And I have a way to go back and circumstantially prove this theory. Because back when Obama became elected, Trump was the one who was pushing this birther issue. President Obama is not an American citizen. And he tried to pull it again, remember, during the campaign. Was it with Ted Cruz, who was Canadian or something, or was it Marco Rubio, who's, I know he pulled this same trick again, not an American citizen. Now, again, Obama was born in Hawaii, and maybe Trump, because he's a Florida boy, he's not familiar that Hawaii is actually a state, which he learned when the Hawaiian federal court, U.S. court, challenged his travel ban. So, but then Obama produces his birth certificate, because Obama said, you know what, dude, if you're going to keep pushing this, here you go. Here's my birth certificate. And what does Trump do? It's a fake. So right there was lawsuit number one. We're going to talk about lawsuits today. Because remember, Donald Trump said that if Hillary won, she would be so busy defending herself against criminal charges and lawsuits. Well, here's lawsuit number one. When Donald Trump, Citizen Trump, said that President Obama produced a false birth certificate, right there, President Obama could have sued Citizen Donald Trump for defamation of character, for libel. But President Obama's a classy dude, and he had other things to do, like run our country. So he didn't. Now we've got a different situation, because now we have Citizen Barack Obama being libeled, accused of a felony falsely that everybody knows is not true, except for the person who every day comes out and says it and accuses him every day and every evening on Twitter. Citizen Barack Obama, a first-year law student, could do a lawsuit against Donald Trump and win. I am not a lawyer, but I know enough about libel lawsuits that I could take Barack Obama as a client right now and sue Donald Trump, President Trump, for libel, because he is accusing Barack Obama of a felony, which, if 5 people believe it, if 10 people believe it, if 10,000 people believe it, could hurt Barack Obama's opportunity to earn a living. I mean, I'm not going to buy Barack Obama's book because President Trump said he wiretapped. He did something, he committed a crime. He's a felon. One person doesn't buy Barack Obama's book or pay to hear him speak because of what Donald Trump said, and it's a lie. Donald Trump is liable, and Barack Obama can sue him. So that's 2 lawsuits by the same person. Plaintiff, Barack Obama. Defendant, Donald J. Trump. Citizen and President, Donald J. Trump. And I promise you, Barack Obama will not do that. He won't, because he loves our country too much to put our country in that kind of turmoil. To have a former president sue a sitting president. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were nothing more than generous after that huge loss for their friend Hillary. And they welcomed the Trump family into their house, into our house, the people's house, the White House, and gave them the tour and made them feel at home and welcome. And this is how they get repaid. So you can decide for yourself, because it's one or the other. It's either Donald J. Trump is losing his mind if he truly believes that Barack Obama, with all the other things he had to do, decided to wiretap Trump Tower. Or the other scenario, that Donald J. Trump ran for president to become president to get fulfill some sort of vendetta against Barack Obama, whom he has publicly insulted, defamed, and libeled since the day Barack Obama became president. Either one is terrifying. That the leader of our country is using our house, our White House, his position, to fulfill a vendetta. You have to decide for yourselves. But it's one or the other. Because Barack Obama did not wiretap Trump Tower. And even if he had wanted to, he didn't have the power to do so. He could have called James Comey and said, I want to tap Trump. And Comey would have said, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you can't do that. Have a good day, Mr. President. That's what would have happened. But Trump says it every day. And then he sends his stress secretary, little Sean Spicer, out to continue to say it. And then in front of one of our allies, a foreign leader, Angela Merkel from Germany, he says it again. And you can see by her body language that she's like, and then he has the nerve and the audacity to embarrass her by saying, yeah, this is something Angela and I have in common. Yeah, Angie and I have this in common, wiretapping. And she's like, is my translator wrong? I mean, what's going on? In front of a foreign dignitary, Trump is saying this stuff. And Angela Merkel is just like, she's like, please, I don't know what's going on here. What is going on? And the Russians applaud. Yep, the Russians love it. They love it because, after all, Trump's their boy. Now look, I understand that the Russians did not get into our voting booths and into our computers and change a Hillary vote to a Trump vote. I know that. Because, see, I'm thinking with all my brain cells. But I know for a fact, because I've spoken to people who all during the campaign, they were going to vote Hillary. And then all the shit came out that the Russians leaked. And they got scared. Oh, Hillary's going to be charged with a crime. The FBI is going to arrest her. I'm changing my vote. They changed their vote. And by the way, Hillary Clinton has a lawsuit against now President Trump as well. Because he certainly stopped her from achieving her destiny, which was to become president. After all, and this is going to dig into Trump's bones for the rest of his life. Hillary won the popular vote. More people voted for Hillary Clinton than voted for DJT. And the only reason that DJT is running our country into a cesspool right now is because of this antiquated thing called the Electoral College, which I believe personally we need to get rid of. You know, whoever gets the most votes wins. Because we would be in a very different place right now if the popular vote was the vote that counted. And see, what Russia didn't understand when they said, we really don't want Hillary to be president because she hates us and she's going to keep us in line. See, in Russia, Vlad has been like the leader for 15 years because anybody who gets in his way either ends up in prison or poisoned or killed. In America, we have a way of fixing our mistakes. It's called impeachment. And right now, on the internet, there are several petitions going out. If you want to impeach President Trump, sign this petition. Like this page. And lots of people are liking that idea. So get ready maybe for a President Pence, which I'm not thrilled about, but at least we will have somebody in the White House, in our house, who knows how to do the job. Who knows that the president's job is not to be on Twitter every chance he gets. Not to accuse former presidents of fake, felonious crimes. I think Mike Pence could actually do the job. That Trump obviously cannot, because he is so busy reliving the election and the campaign and settling old scores with the Obamas. I don't know. Look, let me just say this. They impeached President Clinton. It didn't hold, but they impeached him for getting a blowjob in the Oval Office. Accusing a former president falsely of a felony and using the White House and your administration and then using your FBI director, having him go to court, to Congress and testify on our dime, the taxpayers' dime, I think that's a lot worse than getting a blowjob in the Oval Office. Because President Clinton might have been a dog, terrible husband, but he was a good president. He kept working for the American people. Donald J. Trump is working for Donald J. Trump. Oh, and by the way, did you hear the news? Have you heard the good news? Ivanka Trump now has an office in the West Wing, in the White House, directly upstairs from her daddy, from the Oval Office. His daughter. Guess what, guys? That's not legal. It's called nepotism. And if Hillary Clinton did it, let me just say this. You know, I love the book and the movie A Time to Kill, where the defense lawyer at the end says, you know, this little black girl was raped and horribly beaten and her dad killed their rapist. Now, close your eyes and imagine she was white. Now, here you go. Imagine Hillary Clinton in our house, in the White House right now. Bill Clinton is living in New York and we're paying $300,000 a day for his security because he wants to be a weekend first lady, first man, whatever, like Melania does. And imagine Chelsea and Chelsea's husband getting jobs and offices in the White House. The Republicans would all drop dead from heart attacks. They would be losing their freaking minds. But Trump gets a pass because he's a neophyte. He's new. He doesn't know how things work. No! Guess what? You know when it's okay not to know how to do your job is when you are an intern. When you are starting out right outside of high school or outside of college and they're training you. When you run for president of the United States, the best and most powerful country in the world, you don't learn on the job. You gotta know what the hell you're doing from the first second you step into that office. It's not a learning as you go, learn on the job type of job. You cannot be a president in training after you've been given the job. And this is the problem we have right now. Donald Trump doesn't know how to talk in front of foreign dignitaries. He doesn't know how to comport himself. And his best friend in the world right now is Vladimir Putin. A dictator. A murderer, probably. Can't prove it, but there's evidence there that he's had people who try to unseat him. They've fallen upon hard times. Some are in prison. Some have been poisoned twice. One was murdered right outside the Kremlin. And it all kind of circles back to Vlad. And now they're picking America's presidents for us by giving fake news to Americans who were so quick to eat it up. And again, that's you guys' fault. I voted for Hillary. I didn't believe the shit the Russians put out. I didn't believe the crap that she was going to get indicted and go to jail. I knew that wasn't going to happen. And by the way, it hasn't happened. But just imagine if everything that Trump has done and said, and the way he's running this White House, if Hillary Clinton had done it, if Obama had done it, if any Democrat had treated our White House and our country the way that DJT is, the Republicans would be screaming for impeachment. The American people would be so quick to criticize a Clinton. Yet, for some reason, they're willing to give a Trump the benefit of the doubt. And I don't understand why. Maybe some of you can help me with your comments. I don't get it. Because with Hillary Clinton, at least you got experience. Someone who had spent her entire life working to make America a better country. Did they make mistakes? Did she make mistakes? Hell yes. She's human. But she knew how to do the job. And she wouldn't have had Kellyanne Conway's and Mike Flynn's and all the other, and Jared Kushner's and Steve Bannon's and little Stevie Miller. She wouldn't have surrounded her administration with people like that. She would have had smart, good, experienced people working with her, advising her, telling her if she was making a mistake. And you know what Hillary Clinton said during the campaign that Donald Trump refuses to ever say? I made a mistake with the emails. I made a mistake and I'm sorry. Those words are Hillary Clinton's. You won't ever hear them from Donald Trump. And you need to ask yourself why. You need to ask yourself why when every person who knows has told him nobody from the Obama administration tapped your home or your offices. And the next day, it's like Groundhog Day. I have evidence I was wiretapped by the Obama administration. There's something wrong. Very wrong. There's something wrong when Kellyanne Conway's picture is on a magazine calling her the real First Lady of Washington. Which, by the way, she did all by herself without even asking about it at the White House. They're going crazy right now. They have agita. They don't know how to walk that one back. And our real First Lady, we don't have any idea what she does every day because, she doesn't live in Washington. She doesn't live in the White House. And she hasn't come out on a platform. And what platform could she possibly have? Maybe give lessons in speaking Russian, because I don't know what language she speaks. Whatever language, I know she doesn't speak English all that well. So maybe she could give free Russian classes to kids, or Czech classes wherever she's from, or teach them how to pose naked on a bearskin rug. I mean, she's really never done anything like Laura Bush, who was big into reading and making sure all children got a chance to learn to read at their level, because she was a librarian. Laura Bush was. Lovely lady. Michelle Obama, her platform was child nutrition, combating childhood obesity. She was big into working out and nutrition and growing a White House garden. Wonder who's tending that White House garden now, Michelle's garden. Maybe that's what Ivanka's going to be doing every day. I don't know. Melania is not doing it. She's too busy looking in her microwave going, Obama, are you there? Barack, are you looking at me now through the microwave oven? I got to heat up little Baron's TV dinner. So I don't even know what her platform would be if she had one. But most first ladies by this time in the administration have a platform. They've already made some speeches and done some things. When our brave soldier was killed in Yemen because of a botched raid that Trump authorized, Melania did not accompany him to visit the grieving family. Ivanka did. Maybe Ivanka's the first lady. The problem is we don't know. And we should. We deserve to know. And you know what? If Melania didn't want to be First Lady of the United States, then her husband maybe should have listened to her and not run for president. Because in our country, at least, we like our presidents to be married. And we like them to be happily married. And we like them to live with their spouses full-time, not just on weekends down in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. That's kind of how the American people roll. We like our presidents to be married, even if they're married to a cheater like Hillary Clinton. And again, Bill Clinton has not cheated on, as far as I know, right now. But again, Hillary stood by her man, and her man stood by her, and that's a marriage. That's getting through tough times. But Melania just said, well, you go be president and play in Washington with your new friends, and I'm going to go back to New York with Barron and stay with my friends. Hey, it's a great job if you can get it. So, you guys ultimately will decide what you think. I'm very worried for our country right now because I saw that horrific press conference with Angela Merkel. And I was sad for her and embarrassed. And I wish I could write Angela Merkel a letter. And I just might try to. Apologizing once again for the way she was treated by not my president, but the person who was elected president of my country without my consent. So, stay informed. Try to love and respect each other. But please, stay informed. If you are not listening, if what I just said to you today is news to you, please get informed. Because our brains that are working properly, us sane people out here, we are the ones that have to fight this fight. And we have to fix this mistake before it turns into a disaster, a catastrophe, before it gets to the point where we can't fix it anymore. Political Paula, out.